Good evening and welcome to the fifth round of season 19 in One Hub Racing. We are here for the Prospect Tier race. I'm Tom Cans in the commentary box. Alongside me is Aaron Wyatt. After a race absence, due to whatever reasons, he is back with me tonight. How are you tonight, Aaron?
I'm doing very well, Tom. Hello to all the viewers as well. Yes, we're back as a duo. Very happy to be back, and well, we've got quite the long haul tonight, but Singapore should be a cracking race. Can't wait for it.
Yeah, I'm expected to be very long actually as well. It would be close to an hour actually, depending on the safety cars as well. We currently have 16 in the lobby at the moment. I don't know if we'll have an extra one or two joining, depending on whether they are available or not. Can see that Aidan West has been filling in the Williams actually. I think that's his first appearance for this season as well, so best of luck to him. I think he's a newcomer to One Hub Racing, but we'll wait and see. But in terms of what's happened last week, Josh Wilkins became the first repeat winner at Paul Ricard, and he had to stretch out a 6-second gap over his nearest rival to take the victory, which is what he managed to do. And he is closed in on Fozzie Bear in the race for the championship. 10 points is the gap, or 8 points, I should say, between Fozzie Bear and Wilkins going into tonight's events.
Yeah, so it's nice and close up at the top. Obviously, we keep remembering that Alex really was Alfa Romeo versus Ferrari, and we're seeing that coming through now, where it's Ferrari, Alfa Romeo in the championship. So it's good to see the challenge being put on here tonight. And with a track like this, Tom, do you reckon we'll see another twist? Because I have a feeling that a track so unpredictable, we could see quite a lot of drivers ending up in places that you really wouldn't expect.
Well, the parts of the track are narrow itself. I mean, in other leagues, I've seen someone clip the barrier at where turn 10 is, where the slingshot chicane used to be at. So I think that's the kind of unexpected mistakes we could see once or twice during the Singapore event. But I think the main thing is just keeping your nose out of the barrier. And bear in mind, in the rules of One Hub Racing, every driver has to make at least 2 pit stops. So we're not going to be seeing drivers going on just a medium or a hard and that's it. I think we're going to be seeing drivers going on to maybe a couple of medium stints and then perhaps the soft compound, depending on what tyre they choose to qualify on inside the top 10, if they do qualify in the top 10.
Yeah, that's a big thing. I think qualifying tyre choice tonight will actually be probably the most varied we might see all season, because the tyres overheat here. And I did a practice run for my Pinnacle race later on tonight, yesterday, and I only managed 3 or 4 laps on the softs in race trim before they were too overheated. And I do wonder, the drivers that practiced here for this one tonight, they are going to get quite the reward for it, because a lot of people, they maybe only do time trial laps and they won't suffer the tyre overheating, but the ones that know what's going to happen could be pivotal to where they finish in this race.
Mm-hmm. Let's go on to some pre-race interviews, because Alex Elliott, who was one of the drivers of the race at Paul Ricard, and he was asked how much he was looking forward to racing under the lights of Singapore, saying, "A night race is always fun because it's different. However, a street circuit makes me want to curl up in my bed and cry a lot."
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if he's not the only one. I mean, he said as well that basically they were asked about season goals and whether this is a track you can achieve them. He just wants to survive, and I think a lot of drivers will have that mindset. He also expects we'll have some safety cars, virtual safety cars, and general just chaos. And there's a couple of drivers that expect that, so that's why I'm sort of saying most people don't like this place, and it's going to really cause problems.
Mm-hmm. And just looking at the incidents of last week, because there were a few incidents which were noted and investigated by the stewards within the Prospect here. 3 incidents, in fact. The first one involving Buzzer and Jamie. Now, he received a 5-second time penalty, a post-race penalty it was, as he overtook Buzzer into turn 1 but left no space into turn 2. Turns in on Buzzer and spun him around. The stewards decided to add a 5-second penalty and half a penalty point to Jamie for causing the collision. And it was pretty much vice versa for Buzzer as well, because Buzzer also got a 5-second time penalty and half a penalty point for basically Buzzer had a lag spike and gets ahead Jamie under safety car conditions. The stewards believe that Buzzer should have returned the position to Jamie after the safety car period had ended. A 5-second time penalty and half a penalty point was added to Buzzer's race time and a licence point for an illegal overtake. Well, half a licence point for an illegal overtake is what I was meant to say. And the last one between Jamie and Wace. I think this was the one. I was almost going to say the one at the start because both of them fell back at the start. But it was later on. Jamie and Wace were side by side into turn 7, and Jamie ran slightly wide onto the exit, which gave him a warning. The stewards believe it could have kept the car between the white lines and was not forced to go off the track, so no further action was made. No other incidents were reported, so still a fairly clean race we had of last week, unlike we had a few rounds ago at Bahrain, I think it was, because we had 6 incidents there, but thankfully in the last couple of weeks, and we have only 3, which was great.
Yeah, I find something interesting about this Jamie versus Baza incident. It was brought up in Media Day where they were asked questions on it. Basically, you know, what Jamie was asked, what do you think Baza should do so that we don't repeat an accident? And the same was asked vice versa to Baza. And basically, Jamie turned around and said, and I had no idea about this, in his 81 races, that is the first penalty he's ever received. And it says quite a lot about how good he has been. So I think they made the point that really, Baza said this as well, they shouldn't really be crashing much more. They don't expect to crash much more. And they expect to be wheel to wheel again soon enough. But I did find that interesting that Jamie really has kept it clean for so long. So they want to make a little rivalry out of it. But I think the two drivers actually, in fairness, will be mature enough to keep moving on from now.
So qualifying is about to begin then. And whilst we are waiting for the session to begin, let's take a moment to mention our sponsors and partners. We begin with Next Level Racing, who sponsor One Hub Racing by providing an NLR Direct Drive stand to the Driver of the Season award, and 3M Sim Racing, who sponsor the league by providing a pair of their sim racing gloves to the driver with the most combined total of pole positions and fastest laps. And our partners, Vespertine, who partner OHR, who support with the championship prizes, and ERT, who partner the league with the Going Gets Tough award. So in case any drivers that do not have the best of seasons but deserve some form of award, that's what it's there for, don't you think?
Absolutely. It gives everyone a wee chance as well, doesn't it? Where they're maybe not having the best time, but people will still be looking at them and saying, do you know what? They're still trying, and they're going to get what they deserve for it. And so that's good incentive for all the drivers out there. That award, I really like that. And of course, echoing what Tom says, thank you to all the sponsors and to our partners. We obviously appreciate it so much.
Mm-hmm. So it's an 18-minute short qualifying session. I would expect a lot of drivers to be heading out there now, given how long it takes to complete an out lap, a flying lap, and an in lap put together. It's around about 6 minutes here, so you don't have any time whatsoever to dawdle around on this Marina Bay street circuit. We've just seen that Aidan West has come into the Williams for the first time, so it'll be interesting to see how he gets on. And I think there's 4 drivers or 5 drivers who were meant to be here but aren't around tonight. So, but that does not include any of the leaders in the championship, the likes of Wilkins, Fozzie Bear, Jason, and Alex Lilliard. And there we go. There's the first car out on track, and it's a Ferrari.
I hate to interrupt, but I'm feeling that we might have issues here because Aidan and Josh have just left the session, and you'll notice that Baza, Infamous Jess, and Aidan and Josh Wilkins all have checkered flags beside their name. That's obviously not meant to happen, and I have a feeling that they're leaving because they can't actually take part in the session, and that would be hopefully fixed by rejoining. We'll see if Josh gets that fixed, but there could be a case to restart the session if that doesn't get sorted out, because that'll be 5 drivers that don't get to take part in qualifying, and of course that's not fair.
No, of course not. So just waiting for official confirmation as to what actually is happening. You can see Jess has rejoined to see if that has amended the problem that she's got over at her end. Hopefully she'll be able to get onto the track. If not, it could well be a lobby restart, but we'll keep you informed. As Jason has the opportunity to do some exploratory laps as he makes his way through turns 11 and 12. One of the sort of newest part of the race. I mean, that was revised back in 2015, I believe, that chicane. So if you remember, it was quite a it's a wider part. It's like a wider turn actually than what it was previously. But thankfully, the drivers seem to like that kind of chicane. It's kind of a slower one actually to avoid having incidents which we've almost seen in the past. As Jason makes his way round turn 17 here and going underneath the bridge.
Yeah, so we'll see if he can get his lap started. A few people are making some discussions in the Prospect here chat about whether they can restart or not. See how that all goes. But do you know what? While we're waiting, shall we talk about Alex Lilliard? Because he was in for this race. Obviously, each tier has one driver that will get asked a specific question towards them. And do you know what? The answer from Alex, he wrote a book, frankly, of an answer. He gave us so much in-depth info about this. His basic question was that he was outside the top 3 of the championship. He's currently sitting 4th, actually. And he's the most consistent driver on the grid at the moment, according to everyone in the press conference. And he was basically asked, has he got any tricks to how he's so consistent? And how much easier is it now to drive with everyone having the same fuel mix? If you don't know, in real life last year, fuel mixes were restricted, and the same's been happening on the F1 game as Jason hits the wall there. And yeah, Alex came back with the answer, basically saying that everyone's on the same boat with the fuel, and he finds the one thing that people maybe make mistakes on with the fuel is that they might be putting 2 laps extra fuel in. A lot of people do that. I used to do that as well at the start of the game. But with safety cars and virtual safety cars being so prominent at the moment, why would you put so much fuel in? And that's sort of one of his tricks already. So he's giving the game away a little bit there, isn't he?
Yeah. I mean, to be quite honest with you, with the current fuel rules, not just in this game, but also in real life Formula 1, Jason's just had his lap time invalidated as well, come away from him. You can't use the rich mix now. It's just either the standard or lean that you use on these cars, whether it's in qualifying or in the race. I suppose that only is good news for the teams who are trying to catch up to the likes of Mercedes and Red Bull as Demon drops out of the session.
Red Bull's the host as well, so I think that might be confirmation that we don't qualify with this session. So while we wait for official confirmation, we'll quickly finish the rest of Alex Lilliard's answer, because he was also saying about his consistency, saying that basically when it comes to that consistency that he always seems to have, it's all about thinking of the bigger picture. Of course, it's a 10-race season, and if you're bombing it into turn 1 and causing accidents, then that's not really going to help in the long term. And so he says the bigger picture is what he focuses on. And the fact he also always has good starts. We've seen this so far this season, of course, where multiple times he's made 5 places plus on the start. One of his really good skills. And he's also been saying that quality's been his Achilles heel, but he's been qualifying higher recently, and that's been helping too. He sort of finished off by saying that he's been in league racing for 10 years, and he still hasn't managed an official win yet, but he'd be actually quite disappointed if he doesn't manage it this season. So Alex Lilliard, unfortunately, mate, we're going to have to keep bringing this stat up now. He hasn't won a league race in 10 years. Will this be the night he gets his first? Because I'd love to see him win. And he's certainly seeming confident he can do it now, which is nice to see.
Yeah, well, it could be worse. He could have been waiting for a league title like Arsenal have been waiting for the last 17 years. So Alex Lilliard won't be beating himself up too much. There is every chance that he can win a race at some point in OHR. There's every chance. Maybe tonight could be the night for him. Who knows? But Jamie Mert's just gone and posted the first time of the session. It's a 1:38.9. But I think that's going to be all for nothing here, because we've seen Jason and Fozzie Bear leave and retire the session. So I think you are right there, Owen. We are going to have a lobby restart. We're just waiting for whoever's in charge of the lobby to give us official confirmation. As Ols makes his way into turn 16. You can see him on the onboard view there as he makes his way towards turn 18 and underneath the bridge. Through 19. And then 20 and 21 takes him back towards the last couple of corners. The last couple of corners, we've seen a lot of drivers overshooting that, which is very easy to do. It entices you to take that tighter line to gain that extra tenth or two. But he goes over the line to 1:42.1, so it's not a good lap actually from Ols.
Yeah, we're still seeing more people leaving. I think Indecisive, he was the host before and he did leave. And so that's why we're sort of suspecting that we're going to get a restart. Pretty much everyone except for the people who are still on track have left now. We'll sit in the lobby until we get official confirmation of a new lobby coming up. But I do think that's the situation we're facing, so we will have a little bit of a delay. But do stick with us, because there should still be a good race waiting for us on the other side of this short intermission, I suppose, that we're going to be going through. See what it does, though, Tom, it does give us a chance to really go into everyone's thoughts, because 5 questions are asked every Thursday on the media day, and we had, well, 6 drivers answer questions. We've already gone through what Alex has said, but we've also got thoughts from the likes of Josh, Speedway, Jamie, Jess, and Jason. Although I do see Speedway. Is actually Speedway even here tonight? I'm noticing he might actually be here. He might have moved around.
He
Might
may well.
actually be-
I don't know whether he got a promotion or something, but I highly doubt he would have done.
Promotion.
Yeah.
Yeah, that might be my bad actually on that one. Okay, well, 4 people then are definitely here that we haven't talked about yet.
So as we watch,
suppose-
I was just seeing Oz just making his way back into the pit lane. So we've just got him in our picture at the moment. So we've got something on screen whilst we are waiting for confirmation as to what actually is happening. So I think you are right. We're just waiting for another invite to a new lobby from the host, which is Mackie, who's apparently in charge of that. The hot and cold list. Whilst you're looking at that, Owen, that you were talking about, the hot and cold list of last week. So yeah, Jess has just invited me into the new lobby, so I'll make my way over to there now. Going into the same about hot and cold. Last week, Josh Wilkins was in the hot. He led the team home to a double podium, and the early Ferrari dominance appears to be over now. So the first few rounds, the first couple of races won by Ferrari, Jason doing so in Australia and Fozzie Bear in Bahrain. In the cold section, Indecisive was chosen for that. Started off solidly, but crashed in Hungary and struggled for pace last week in France. Bless him, he'll keep trying, but perhaps he needs to hire a speedier driver if he wishes to realise his constructors' goals, although not being lapped by the whole field might help.
Bit harsh on him, isn't it?
Yeah. I think in a situation like this, because I've joined the session, it's saying joining session, but it's taking an age, so it could well be just me having to restart the game in order to get the stream up and running properly. So, of course, get the lobby up and running for me to join. So what I'm going to do now, if I do end up having to stop the broadcast, then I do apologise in advance. But once I do come back into the lobby, we'll be able to get this qualifying session underway at last. So just bear with us one moment.